Alright, this is my HvZ triple shot, and at the moment I'm actually very happy with how the rebarreling went. A while ago I was asked on the HvZ pages to show what I'd done. Originally I had these marker barrels in there, but they were held in with the caps. I hadn't experimented with using the brass to hold them in, but when that happened, it actually wasn't very good because the marker barrels don't give a very strong seal on streamlines. So after I'd done it, like maybe one or two would go really like a good distance, like maybe 40 or 50 feet, and the other ones would just flounder or just not shoot at all. You know, they would just sort of just plop right out because the seal was so crummy. But what I did on this is that I cut around the barrels to make it shorter, which removed a lot of the dead space, and I connected them directly to the stubs with 1732 brass, which I cut into about maybe an inch, maybe a little bit less cuts. I mean, they weren't all straight cuts. It was just me going on guesswork, just going like, is this should this be this long? Maybe this should be this as close to that. You know, the stubs are pretty close on length. I mean, it's a scatter gun. I mean, I'm not looking that much for consistency, so a little bit of spread is good. And the same thing goes for the length. As you can see, one of them is a lot shorter than the other ones because this was my first cut. The way that I cut these to do it straight is that I would use a traditional like pipe cutter that I use for cutting my brass, and I shoved a brass pipe, I believe ½ inch, through the entire barrel, and then I could get a perfectly straight cut. Like normally, if you try using that, the plastic will bend and you'll never get a cut. But with the brass, it sort of forces the plastic and it forces the rotary cutter to just go around it. So, you know, go right through it, I mean. And that got me a really good cuts. I mean, that's how I also cut my Pet G. I mean, I assume there's a better way, but this one, it works really good for me so far. As for the specs on everything else inside of it, I cut out the pegs, which is kind of necessary to do this sort of thing. I did a little bit of seal work. I mean, I'm not very good on sealing these things up. All I did is that I wrapped up the rubber stub with a little bit of duct tape so that it would be more stationary, have a little bit of a skirt around it so it gets a little bit of better seal, and I think that actually paid off a little bit. I mean, I might go in and put a little bit more, but I mean, for now it's functioning rather well. And I did a very somewhat forced job of putting a what's the thing now, a big bad bowstring with the stock spring, so it has a pretty harsh pullback. But I mean, I thought it was harsh when I first used it, but you just got to give it a little bit of elbow grease. I mean, it has the ratchet priming, so it's not that hard to cock this gun. I mean, you just have to make it go all the way back, because, you know, it's just like, it's not like in a Doomsayer where if you don't kick it, it'll go all the way back, it'll just slam all the way back forward, which that's what I like about this gun. But anyway, the only thing I haven't done to it yet is expanded the seal around the plunger tube. Right now the seal is pretty bad. I mean, like, you can stick your finger on one side and it will just slide right through. Like, you know, you won't get enough air pressure to stop the plunger, which I think is contributing to the fact why the ranges, I think the ranges should actually be much better than it's getting right now. It's getting maybe, I can't give good of a quote on ranges, but I mean, I usually would say about 45 feet. That might be overstating or understating. I mean, it's hitting pretty hard for what it is. And I think that after I get the seal done, I probably would peg maybe 50. I mean, if I got even higher than that, I'd be really happy because these barrels work great. I mean, you can shove darts inside, has a really good seal. I mean, because it's put over the tighter part of the barrels is the front, and the more looser part at the end, which is normally is the beginning of most marker barrel designs, is where I shove the 1732 brass, which gives a really good seal. And then it connects all the way back to the original starting point where darts would usually be. So it holds darts really good. I mean, darts will never fall out. It's not too tight. It's not too difficult. I dig it. But anyway, I'm gonna take a few shots. There we go. Had one somewhat misfire because I'm still not used to the pullback, but it's working out great. Every single shot comes out. They are not all of equal distances, though. Some of them will bottom out at maybe 25 to 35 feet, and some of them will probably go another 10, 15 feet further. I don't care if the math wasn't right, it's still early, but yeah, that's what's going on. What I'm hoping to do with this is I'm hoping to incorporate some of the similar ideas of the barrels to my octo shot. And I'm not making a traditional octo shot because I realized that I can't really find some of the steel stuff that I need for building the octo shot turret, and I don't think it's really necessary for HvZ. So I'm going to do something very similar to this, except maybe using PET-G for more professionalism and larger stubs of 1732, like maybe 2 or 3 inch stubs, putting them all over the 8-shot turret, and rolling with it like that. I think that will probably give me really good range. I will probably decrease the spring combination, get a better seal, and I'm hoping that I can pull maybe 75-foot ranges with it, and it'll be HvZ legal. And I can easily switch between this turret and that other turret when I need it to. I either have a shotgun effect or a really good primary. And finally, I am hoping to hold this on a shoulder holster, which I have not built, but if I do, there will be a video. Anyway, down to my last 20 seconds. Peace out, YouTube.